France by the Nazis. The professor was there.
Hey, Professor! I've finished taking the injured to hospital.
Western District's all been taken care of. Did you know the wife just kicked me out of the house?
It's under control here. Now go out and see what you can do for the professor.
The enemy doesn't stand a chance against those women.
Now then, young men, we have 15 more minutes. Let's resume class. The enemy is doing all it can to rob us of our ambition. If we don't continue to learn, we'll soon be in the hands of Hitler. Now, let's study. We'll remain strong if we're together, and we'll make it through this dreadful war that's brought out the worst in human beings, hatred and murder. We'll build a new civilization.
Minoan civilization. The European culture that developed after the Roman Empire has its origins in Egyptian civilization, formed around 3000 BC.
Hello, may I ask you a question? Obviously, there's no pyramid or sphinx in Europe, so how do you know we originated from Egypt?
She's right, monsieur. Egypt has nothing to do with the way we live our lives today, huh?
Can you prove that there was no other civilization that existed before Egypt?
No, the oldest ruins are in Egypt.
There are more ruins out there, still undiscovered.
Okay, that's a very good question. We had a great discussion today, and I'd like to further explore that last point, but thanks to your overwhelming desire to learn, I've run out of notes. There's 5 minutes left, so until tomorrow, class is dismissed.
Professor, that was a superb lecture. I must say I had no idea I'd enjoy these lectures so much. I'll surely attend tomorrow.
Well, very appropriate for the final class. A homage to this historic school. A B+, sir.
Now.
That's right. He deserves an A+.
I've never been known to give out an A+.
B+ is fine. I remember getting grades worse than that in school.
Mr. Keaton, you get a D-.
D-? But that's a failing mark. I don't want to be taught by a D-.
I'm so glad that we invited you to lecture here, this being the school's final classes, Mr. Keaton.
Well, Madam President, the students here are so energetic and willing to learn. I've thoroughly enjoyed teaching all of them.
It's been 40 years since I started at this school. I wanted to establish a place of higher education where everyone could once again have a chance to learn. But it's all over. They're constructing a home for the elderly. They'll tear the school down, but they'll keep the mural by Pigalle.
Are you referring to that wall painting?
Yes, Pigalle used to come here. It was done when he was still unknown. The man from the Ministry of Culture is coming, but only to look after the mural. We've gone past the demolition date. That's why all these buildings are being torn down. But it would please me if you would finish your course to the end. I've asked the man who's coming to see the mural not to interrupt your class, so I hope you'll cooperate.
Monsieur Moreau has arrived.
Invite him in. Here he comes now. I've been waiting for you, monsieur.
Are you still holding classes? You know, it's already past the demolition date.
Yes, I know.
Well, let's take a look at the wall painting.
Did I forget to lock up? Yuriko?
Dad, it's been a while.
I can't believe you're here in Paris. I'm in shock. When did you get here?
About an hour ago. It's a great view. Roofs in Paris are wild. Each one is so completely different. So, how's the teaching going at the school?
Okay. Are you hungry, Yuriko? I bought some bread. Oh, and some cheese. Let's have lunch together.
Mm-hmm. The River Seine.
So, Yuriko, how's your mother doing? Being promoted to professor. Great, huh? Yuriko? Yuriko! What are you doing? Wait up!
Oh, wow, Dad. It's so wonderful up here. A perfect place to have our lunch.
What are you doing? You're being childish. Wow, you're in the 8th grade now.
I'm already in senior high, Dad. Could you at least remember your own daughter's age? I don't want you to call me things I'm not, especially childish.
I'm sorry, honey, but it doesn't mean that I forgot that you're growing up, Yuriko.
Well, Mom, just might be getting married.
Married? Your mom? So she's seeing someone then. Tell me, what's this guy like and what's his name?
Kidding. She's busy working away to reports, so I just came here for a vacation. Wow, right from the oven, Roquefort and radish. I can't chat if there's no Chambertin wine.
Yuriko, you're not old enough to drink.
So good. Hey, Dad. How's your teaching job here in Paris going so far? Not too well?
Actually, it's fine. I love the job I've been doing here. It's been great. But the school's about to be torn down. Seems I don't have the good fortune or the talent needed to be an archaeologist.
Dad, don't talk like that. How important is it for you to be an archaeologist? You think you can give it up just like that?
You see, archaeology's like an attic. Few people rummage through it.
An attic?
Yeah. Now that I think about it, my study room was kind of like an attic. A bit cramped, but full of things to discover.
Mr. Keaton, do you have something you'd like to contribute?
Well, I think other civilizations besides the Egyptians influenced Europeans. I think,
It's important to be led by instinct. It fosters new ideas. Let's hear your reasoning.
Well, there are the plains and the river which are necessary for farming wheat. So, I don't believe Egypt was the only influence to shape Europe's development. True, Egypt may have been the most dominant influence. Civilizations thrive in warm climates where food can be grown. One place in Europe has these conditions but still hasn't been researched. The Danube River Basin.
But Professor, no ruins have been found in that area.
Yes, exactly. Think about this theory. The civilizations with a belief system of immortal life made their villages out of stone. And those with a belief system based on transmigration made them out of wood.
I've heard of immortal life, but what is transmigration of life?
It's originally a concept from the Indian religions. They say the soul keeps on returning to live a new life.
Maybe they use wood because it wears out but can be rebuilt over and over, just like in their belief.
Then what are you asserting? The civilization was built using wood as their base? Plus, it's somewhere in the Danube River Basin?
Let me answer that with a story.
No, couldn't imitate that.
Society may not yet embrace this idea. The question is...
This is a huge one.
You! Keep it down, please!
All right, there's just 2 minutes left. That's fine, we'll stop now.
Dad?
Oh, no, I tell you, I'm right.
Listen, Dad, that stuff you were saying about attics, what gave you the idea to equate that with archaeology?
Oh, that? Well, when I was a small boy, I liked drawing blueprints for houses. My favorite room of all was the attic. Hiding up there, I tried to picture some kind of imaginary life through its window. Archaeology does the same thing. It lets me conjure up the world of the past. Yuriko, I think I want to go back to Japan to be near you. I don't mind my job in insurance, but I do know what I want most. It's...
Huh?
I had a great professor who taught me. He helped me decide what I wanted to do. To make my life's work, archaeology. Taichi Hiraga Keaton, graduation thesis incomplete. Come see me at my office.
Come in. What is this thesis that you wrote, Mr. Keaton? You get a D-. A failing grade. As for your effort, I don't believe you worked on it at all. Your wife, I heard she's majoring in mathematics at Somerville College. I've also heard she's pregnant. I know you're working in the daytime, but that does not mean you're entitled to graduate from our school with a terrible thesis.
Huh?
Where there's the will, people can study, even under unfavorable conditions. If you can't study during the day, study at night.
It was the professor's study room. They were everywhere, all the books in the world. I even read in my dreams. I considered it the best time ever. It was incredibly difficult to get a passing grade, but I studied. I studied hard. but I learned the most precious thing in life wasn't in the books. It was the pure pleasure of learning that Professor Yuri Scott taught me.
Professor Yuri?
Yes, Yuri. That's where your first name comes from, Yuriko.
You mean from that amazing professor? But where does he live now?
He left the college shortly after the events I've been telling you about.
What?
It was Professor Scott who theorized about the origin of a civilization near the Danube River. But at the time, that theory was heresy. It meant expulsion from the Archaeology Society. But he voiced it, knowing what would happen to him. Sacrificing his career.
Mr. Keaton, you were a bit late, but I was confident you would be the first one to arrive. There is one thing I want to tell you. No matter what happens, keep up with your studies. Grow into a great archaeologist. Then I'll meet you again.
There was a new address written on that letter, but as time wore on, I knew I couldn't go see him. I still need to grow up and become a man, right? Your mother eventually left. I didn't find a good job. The insurance work I'm doing on the side is slowly becoming my career. And I'm far from being a great archaeologist.
Why not go see him? I think you're the best archaeologist in the world.
Don't you see, he'd be over 90 years old by now. I wish I'd gone to see him earlier, but even now, I'm not sure if it's too late.
You don't even know if he's alive?
No, I don't, but I suspect he carried on his research even after he left the school.
What do you mean, suspect? He's not exactly a quitter.
Even in hard times, I never saw him give up his desire to attain and pass on knowledge. Shortly after the bombing, he continued to teach his class to the last minute. Yuriko, I was forgetting something extremely important. There's an incredible story about what he did.
The Secretary of Culture is coming here, but no one informed me. The final lecture is being held right now.
You must agree it's an honor to have him here instead of fretting over some class. And it's past the demolition date.
My theory asserts that ruins will someday be discovered along the Danube River. They will prove that it was the origin of European civilization. Now, this is the final day for Simmons Adult Education Center. I would like to ask all of you to promise me one thing. I want you all to keep on studying, even after the school's been closed down. That's really my only wish for you. Over the last few days, I had been feeling disillusioned. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't face the reality of this school being torn down. But having you as my students made me realize something. You don't need a classroom to study in, as long as you have the passion to keep learning. So...
excuse me, Secretary Gravois has arrived now. Monsieur, the mural is here.
One moment, sir. We're still having our class.
Mais non, there's only 10 minutes left.
Right. We still have 10 minutes.
Keep quiet, you're forgetting the secretary.
I don't care who the man is. I want to tell the students about an old professor of mine. It all took place in London, 1941, during the war. He was invited to give a lecture. An airborne attack totally destroyed the college where he was speaking. But he didn't pay any attention to it.
Now then, young men, we have 15 more minutes. Let's resume class. The enemy is doing everything it can to rob us of our power and our ambition. If we don't continue to learn, we'll soon be in the hands of Hitler. Now, let's study. We'll remain strong if we're together. Yes, it'll help us make it through this dreadful war
that's brought out the worst in human beings, hatred and murder. We will build a new civilization, one of hope. If ignorance is part of human nature, then our mission is to study that aspect and to overcome it. Sometimes a man like me tends to forget that mission, but my daughter straightens me out. If you've learned anything here, it's to keep studying. I've been inspired by you, and I will continue to study for the rest of my life.
Wonderful, Professor. This time you get an A+. You might be interested to learn that I had another teacher who also had a theory about the Danube River. You two are the best teachers I've had.
Must be him. Professor Scott was here. Hey, Daniel, it's Keaton. I've finished my job. I'll be coming back. Come on, don't be so hard on me. I'm on my way. Yuriko, where are you taking me?
The students want to give you a farewell party, Dad. Just keep running.
You did an excellent job, Mr. Keaton.
Great lecture from a man with a poor thesis.
Yuri. Professor Yuri Scott.
Dad. Oh, Dad.
Mr. Keaton. Excellent work.
Yes, sir.
The moment Keaton steps on the island, there's trouble. Narrowly escaping, he encounters a college friend who's protecting a sacred tomb. Anna's fierce independence is about to lead her to a huge discovery. One man stands in her way, another pitches in. But does she have enough faith in her own strength to fight to the end, or will she fail? Next time, White Goddess.